us witnessing the opening of the container there, the examination container. But first in Nakuru, we've seen Nancy Macharia on location, witnessing that. She has also been speaking, but other people also having a go at it. Listen.
In helping the country to ensure that we have young people who are marketable both within the country and also outside. And some of us, I told the team earlier that I schooled here, and by the time I was 29 years in the United States, I was already a CEO, because I think I was prepared very well by the Kenyan system. And sometimes we don't take time to appreciate that we have one of the best systems globally, a few challenges notwithstanding.
I find that the exams take a lot of maybe resources. We have security agencies, we have the teachers, we have the multi-agency team that is overseeing all this. As a ministry, have you budgeted for this? And maybe the next one that we are going to do in December, how ready are we?
Yes, it's multi-agency approach, so most of the budgets are domiciled within the multi-agency space. And I said that we're moving into the double intake. So we shall be providing significant amount of resources towards that end. And if you remember when we had our Mashujaa Day in Kirinyaga, His Excellency the President also gave directive to the Treasury to ensure that resources are made available for infrastructure development at the county level, and to make sure that the local youth are involved in the infrastructure development as part of also economic revival. So that's what we can say on that point.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Monsieur, we want to talk in the French language.
Before the French, some questions.
French, yeah. For French speakers.
There's some questions.
Okay. There is a guardian who is an old grandmother working in Moranga who doesn't understand
French inakuanga tough.
Jaribu tu.
Just kind of request.
Na sasa utani prompt, eh?
Yes, I will prompt.
Because hiyo sasa siwezi ongea. Oh, a question. A question.
Just pick.
Hello. Well, a very good morning to you. Well, indeed, Sam, as you can see, we are in Nakuru County at the Nakuru East County Commissioner's Office, whereby currently the CEO, TSC CEO, Dr. Nancy Macharia, is currently overseeing this whole exercise at the start of the KCSE 2021 exams. And I'll be engaging her just briefly to give us more details into what exactly is going on here. We understand that 70,800 teachers have been dispersed across the country to oversee this exercise in vigilation. Perhaps, how is the exercise looking like, this being the first day?
No, things are good. You can see that our teachers were very early here today. Every one of us, the DCC, the CS, Treasury, we are all here. And we have started well. All the other teams, my colleagues in NEC and everyone else in the sector is elsewhere in the country. And we are doing well, yes.
And so far, maybe you just talk to us about their concerns. Of course, there are those in Baringo who are raising concerns earlier, the teachers, about the safety of the invigilators as well as the candidates. How are you ensuring, as a commission, how are you ensuring that they are safe during this period, considering the examination will drag up to April?
Of course, as we have said, we are working as a multi-agency team. We have the security forces with us. We have all the Ministry of Interior, has been working with us all along. And of course, they are giving security everywhere. Our officers on the ground are working with their colleagues in the interior and so on. And so security is ensured for our children and for our teachers in the country. And these children, you sit their exams, and they will sit just like other students in the rest of Kenya.
Yes. From here, what is the next step? Are you going to visit which other schools as you oversee this whole exercise? In which schools?
Okay, I'll visit us. I'll go to Nakuru Nakuru Girls after this.
Okay.
I will also, as I go back to Nairobi, I will pass through Naivasha, Kimede as I open and close others.
Okay.
And throughout the entire season, exam season, we shall be everywhere in the country.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Is these candidates really prepared, considering the short period that they had to cover this to cover their syllabus, and considering that this year we are having 2 examinations, currently in March as well as another in December? So possibly, do you think that candidates are prepared?
Candidates are prepared. As you know, our teachers are among the best in the world. We lead, and therefore our teachers have taken care of the syllabus. As you know, this was already a very squeezed term, and they did it. We are sitting exams. The students have gone through the syllabus, and they will do the same. And we will sit exams in December, so that then we can get back to normalcy. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Well, indeed, Sam, I'll also be speaking to the CS Treasury about this whole situation. Perhaps you are here considering the fact that you are opening this examination containers today. How has the situation been like for you?
It's a good experience. The second time. Last year, I also had the privilege of visiting 50 schools across the country. And today we were here early to witness the opening of the center. And we are wishing the young people well. As has been said by the CEO, the preparation has gone on. More than 70,400 teachers across the country are involved in this exercise. Multi-agency approach has seen the cabinet come out, and some of us actually have come here also on behalf of the CS for Treasury. And we are wishing the best for these young people. Okay. We think you asked questions about the time and the constraints. These are unusual times. If you look at our neighboring countries like Uganda, they have a 2-year gap in their education. Kenya, despite the challenges, has managed to navigate around it so that we will soon be catching up with our cycle. And so we want to laud again the teachers of this country and others for the great work, great sacrifice, and the students too, that they have worked under very exciting circumstances, and still they are performing. And this hopefully will go as best practice in terms of what more could be put onto the curriculum if they can finish in a certain time and not compromise quality.
Okay, thank you very much. And lastly, I'll also be speaking to the County Commissioner, Erastus Mbui, about the situation in Nakuru. Perhaps how many examination centers will the examinations begin as early as 8 a.m.?
We have around 502 examination centers, and we have deployed adequate security for the same, for the purposes of exams. And we are working closely with the education sector so that we can ensure that we have credible and no cheating for the exams for this year. We've done it before, and this year would not be any different. So we are closely monitoring jointly as a contingency team to ensure that everything goes on well, and we are sure to go well. No place we think that there is any security challenges as of now.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, indeed, Sam, that is the situation here in Nakuru County. As you heard right from the 3 speakers, is that the examination is set to kick off peacefully across the different parts of Nakuru County. What we understand, 502 centers in Nakuru. A total of 21,407 boys will sit their KCSE exams here in Nakuru, and a total of 21,509 girls will sit their KCSE exams in Nakuru. So generally a total of 42,915 candidates here in Nakuru County. It is a situation that we will, of course, continue to keep our eyes on as the TSC CEO, Dr. Nancy Macharia, moves to the Nakuru Girls High School to oversee the exercise. Back to you, Sam.
All right, thank you so much, Marian Nyambura there from Nakuru, giving us some of the updates on the latest in as far as that process is concerned. Of course, the examination should be beginning at about 8:30 a.m. and so they are still within very good time for them to prepare, collect the papers and head to the examination centers or the different schools. We're also still in Mombasa, where Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha has been witnessing the opening of that container, but also a crew at different centers here in Nairobi to capture the very first moments of that process as it begins. And I think we now take a short break. When we come back, we'll be in a position to bring you the latest, including having a conversation about the state of the race with different political leaders who are in studio already. I'll be telling you who they are after the break, so stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment.
Now, you can enjoy the convenience of travel booking with View Travel, Kenya's #1 online travel booking platform. View Travel offers easy and affordable choices for domestic stays, flights, transfers, holidays, activities, and so much more. Whether traveling as a family, chama, church group, friends, or even going for a solo trip, whether a thrill seeker, young professional, or traveling for an occasion, book and plan for trips to unique and unexplored destinations in Kenya. Here is your chance to discover different parts of Kenya like Chalbi, Chulu Hills, Kitmikai, Dragon's Teeth, Aberdares, Marafa Kitchen, and other exotic places in Kenya. This is Kenya. Dream, explore, discover. Visit www.viewtravel.com. Powered by Citizen TV.
In the blue corner, coming in at a height suitable for him and some catchy lines like,
"Somebody say, oh my, what's crockin'?"
He's a heavyweight in the game, no doubt. In the red corner, he is tall, dark, and handsome. These two will be tag teaming to create a morning experience like no others. Let's get ready to rumble! On the Hot Breakfast Show, weekdays 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. with Jeff and Nick. Only on Hot 96.
Every day at 8 p.m. When life shows its two sides, compassion becomes a source of strength. Four ladies from different paths have to walk together to be with each other through pain, pleasure, and danger. Vencer el desamor every day at 8 p.m.
To feel fresh and prevent odors, it's more important than ever to maintain good hygiene practice and change your pad frequently.
Soft Care Petal Care has a floating design that perfectly fits. It reduces 70% friction on skin, absorbs fully, and blocks leakages from both sides.
Soft Care, yeah.
Good morning. Thank you so much for staying tuned to Citizen TV, and of course on this very 14th day of March 2022. Again, my name is Sam Gituku. Welcome back, and it's time that I want us to take a look at some of the latest stories that are making headlines, and of course informed by the political events of the weekend. We will also be crossing over to listen to Professor George Magoha as soon as he's able to do so, who is in Mombasa to witness the start of the KCSE exam this year. For the KCSE 2021. But first, to introduce the panelists here in studio, you have Nelson Koech, Member of Parliament for Belgut. Good morning.
Morning, Sam.
Welcome back to the show. You have Rosa Buyu, the Member of Parliament for Kisumu County. Good morning.
Good morning.
You've been quite aware?
Yes.
What's going on?
I'm living a life.
You're living... Interesting answer. Robert Mbui, Member of Parliament for Kathiani constituency in Machakos County. Good morning.
Morning, Sam.
Great, and so much has happened over the weekend. And I want to begin by quickly looking at what's in the papers. It's Uhuru versus Ruto, battle royale in the fight for his own succession. President Kenyatta is in crosshairs of his deputy, who less than 24 hours after the launch of a Grand Azimio coalition, fired a tirade against his boss yesterday, accusing him of calling him a thief and betraying him at his greatest hour of need. Ruto is angry, and so is the president. We will later be hearing or listening to what the deputy president has been saying, but also looking at the events of the Azimio One Kenya Alliance rally. I hope I get the name right. Then up there, Malala, why Mudavadi must be Ruto's deputy. Is he testing the waters or spoiling for a fight by demanding that ANC leader be the Kenya Kwanza running mate? Malala is setting the stage for a supremacy battle. Then you'll see down there, as KCSE starts leaking worries, Dog Magoha. Every day an exam paper will be in the reach of teachers and students in schools for hours because of a distribution challenge, presenting illicit opportunities for theft. And the story continues on the back page that you see what's going on there. Like I told you, the Cabinet Secretary is in Mombasa. As soon as he is speaking, we'll be in a position to listen to him, and I'm told that he is doing so now. Let's cross over to Mombasa and listen to the Cabinet Secretary in charge of education.
National Secondary School Examinations, KCSE, nationwide. We have not had any serious incidents. We are dealing with over 850,000 students. I think basically our students were very prepared for this examination because most of them had completed the syllabus about 3 months ago, and having gone to about 500 of the schools over the last 6 months, I can attest to the fact that our children are ready and prepared and ready to go. So the children are not guilty. The guilty are the parents, and the more guilty are the teachers, some of whom are basically just traders and crooks. We dismantled one of their cartels in primary schools, having arrested several of them. We have noticed that they have formed another one. And this morning in Nairobi, we already had 2 students with cell phones. We are going to be very soft with them. We shall allow them to take the exams. But I want to once again just warn that any teacher who feels he or she is brave enough to open, particularly the second paper, we shall know where you have done it, and we shall come for you, just like we did in Wajir, and just like we did in Tanzania and other places. Otherwise, this is not enough to say this is a presidential legacy. This is a Kenyan legacy. From 2016 to 2022, delivering credible exams using the multi-agency team, particularly the 2 other ministries of Interior and Coordination of the National Government, and the Ministry of ICT, headed by my brother Joe Mucheru, together with all the other stakeholders, including the press, and all the others that have made sure that this is possible. This being my last examination, I would want to charge Kenyans that we have developed a Kenyan system, the container system which we developed together with Fred Matiang'i and General Kaiseri and Joe Mucheru, that has delivered credible results. You now have students in universities that are of international caliber. Our qualifications are respected worldwide. I want to charge Kenyans not to slide back, irrespective of what happens. I would also want to charge the incoming administration, whichever one it is, that since no condition is permanent, for our children, their being in school is going to be permanent. And that we should be very, very careful just changing something because you don't like the person who initiated it. I think life is much bigger than that. And as regards the CBC classrooms, ladies and gentlemen, we have done extremely well because our original target was the end of April. We are now at 83%. 5 counties are at 100%. Another 10 are at over 90%. And therefore, we are going to make a bold decision that for those counties which have not reached 100%, we allow a coordinated approach where we shall allow them to complete and go. And I think if we allow another 2 weeks during this process, we should be able to have delivered the 6,447. Now we have completed close to 4,000 of them and handed over about 2,500. So it can be done, and I want to assure Kenyans that, again, whoever takes over the government, I know that it is very difficult for leaders to get acknowledged. Let us hope that we don't steal public money, because what His Excellency the President has done this time round is to save 446,000 shillings per classroom. And I don't see Kenyans happy about it. It is very, very strange, Madam Talaki. But that is the point. We are building at 788 instead of 1.26 million shillings. And you can see even here in Mombasa, we have commissioned some of them. And some of those classrooms are even better than others that have been built by other people. So whether anybody likes this or not, this is something good. We shall call it a presidential legacy statement, but it is more of a Kenyan legacy, because it then means when we don't steal Kenyan money, then it is put to better use for our people. Let me wish those candidates who are still seeing me before they go to the exam all the very best, and that they should run away from Satan. If somebody wants to send you something, run away from it. Your brain is much better than that. God the Almighty has given you a brain that is excellent, and you don't need an idiot to give you wrong answers. Because when I look at the past, most of the schools where we have nullified exams, you find that the so-called teachers gave the children actually wrong answers, and everybody in their classroom has copied the wrong answer, because you believe that the teacher is intelligent. A teacher who steals exams cannot be intelligent. He must be very stupid. Because a teacher who steals exams, a normal teacher should basically identify whether or not his or her children are ready and according to the various levels. Otherwise, that's all I have for you this morning. We are going to continue. Our teams are all over the place, and we shall not have mercy. Like we are not going to have mercy. The people we have arrested, we are not going to have mercy for you. For this time round, because of our children, we shall be quasi-dictatorial. We must protect our children. So hata ukienda kotini, hiyo ni shauri yako. We shall protect our children, because the children deserve to be given that space to do their exams.
Professor George Magoha speaking there from Mombasa at the start of the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education examination for the year 2021. And I want to quickly take some comments from the panelists here in studio. Let me begin with you, Honorable Rosa Boyu. Of course, as the Cabinet Secretary says, it's his final national examination, because the next one will be in December. At that time, most likely, there will be a new Cabinet Secretary for Education. What are your thoughts this morning as you look at that, and also looking at the legacy of this government in as far as matters education are concerned, and to be specific, CS Professor Magoha?
Okay, first of all, I'd like to wish all the candidates sitting the exams from today, I'd like to wish them good luck. I know they've worked hard under difficult circumstances occasioned by Corona, but they're up to the task, and I wish them well. I'd just like to say, listening to the Prof, I think teachers form a really key part of stakeholders in the education system. They're the ones who prepare our children for what they're going to do today. When it comes to invigilating exams, they're an integral part. When it comes to marking the exams, they're an integral part. But this morning, I think the professor is a bit demeaning. He sounds a bit demeaning in his reference to the teachers. Of course, nobody wants exams not to be free and fair, and we must do everything to ensure that we curtail any cheating in our examination. And if any teacher is found going against it or trying to aid the students in cheating, that particular or specific teacher must be held to account. But it does not mean you criminalize all teachers. I heard him use words like crooks. I don't think teachers are crooks. Criminals, I don't think teachers are criminals in its entirety. And when he's talking about teachers and saying so-called teachers, I think this morning he's shown a little disrespect to the teaching fraternity. I don't know if I feel this way because my background is teaching, but I think that we are beginning our exams today. The teachers have played their part to ensure that this has happened, especially given the impact of Corona. They've worked under very difficult circumstances, and we need to appreciate what they've done and just to give them the respect they deserve. In terms of how the government have handled the education system, so far, I think we've had a lot of issues with Corona, and we've had to adjust our terms. And both the teachers, the parents, and the students have had to really make a lot of sacrifices. The terms have actually been much shorter, and the holidays even much, much shorter, because we've been trying to make up for lost time during the Corona pandemic. So everybody has really been going through a difficult time. The government has tried, but like I've said on this platform before, if I had had the authority or been in the position to make decisions, I would have actually let 1 year pass, because it would have passed for everybody, so that we don't have such crazy interruptions or such crazy short terms and short holidays, because we also have a lot of students suffering from that. We have a lot of mental issues coming out of depression, so to speak, coming out of this erratic short terms and too much syllabus, because the syllabus has not been shortened, but the terms have been shortened, the holidays have been shortened, so there's too much work crammed in such a short time, and the teachers have to perform, and the students have to make it happen, and the government has to ensure that it's meeting timelines. And so for me, I think these serious timelines, we didn't have to get there. The government would have just let 1 year pass, and then to avoid all this hectic whatever that's happening. But whatever it is, they've managed to catch up. Personally, I don't think that the syllabuses have been covered with intensity and fullness as they would have been covered if we had continued with our usual terms. But everybody has tried, but I think the minister ought to just be a little more respectful, even if this is his last examination, even if he's looking for his legacy, he ought to be a little more respectful when he's referring to teachers. If 1 or 2 teachers have been caught culpable, let them suffer the consequence. But it doesn't mean that the whole teaching fraternity are crooks or are criminals or are out to derail exams.
I hear you, Honorable Rosa. Honorable Mbui, your thoughts this morning?
Yeah, thank you, Sam. I also want to wish our candidates all the best in their national exams. I mean, it's a turning point in their lives, and I'm sure they've prepared well enough, those who have. And those who haven't, then they will also reap what they have sown. Now, on the issue of the exam and the management of exams, I think I've always been of the opinion that we manage our exams in a militant manner. And the first thing you see is a CS with all these police people around him, and it speaks volumes about our psyche as a nation. I mean, maybe the impression here is that Kenyans are fairly crooked in the way they deal with their things. So that's why we have to be militant in even managing exams, because there's a possibility of theft. And you've had the CS. The CS is very clear. I mean, even there you can see pictures of police around the exams. I mean, that basically shows that we as a country need to learn this value of integrity, that we can take our children to school and they can be taught and they can do an exam like in other countries without having the issue of theft of exams being the main thing. But again, I will also want to agree with my colleague here that the CS needs to respect teachers. You've heard what he said. He even said that sometimes these teachers are involved in stealing of exams and they even give wrong answers. That's a comment that caught me, that they even give wrong answers because they're not even intelligent enough to give the correct answer. I mean, when he gives a statement like that, then I'm wondering, so then who has prepared these children for the last 4 years? Is it not the same teacher? So if they can give the wrong answers in the exam because that's what is purported, then that means they've also taught the wrong curriculum or the wrong syllabus. So basically, I think he needs to be respectful towards teachers, and he needs this one minister who needs to understand that in our constitution, Article 10, there is that issue of public participation. He must always consult, talk with teachers, talk with parents, talk with the learners, so that whatever he comes up with is all-encompassing. But finally, on the issue of education, I think one thing I'll give him credit for is that they've come up with an excellent system, the one called the CBC system. And we are now at that point of transition because in the next 5 months or so, we'll be doing a general election and we'll be electing a new government. And I would like to urge Kenyans that be careful. Our children have been in school and the CBC system is now in grade 5.
Yes.
So the children who've been in school for 7 years under that system of CBC. And there has been a threat from one side, one of the people competing for presidency, that if they manage to get the seat, that the 7 years of our children will be thrown down the drain, that they are going to crash that system and change it. So that means our children who are in grade 5, all the way from PP1, PP2, all the way to grade 5, 7 years will be wasted because that system will be scrapped. That means they go and start from zero. I think for the sake of continuity in our education, let us elect Azimio La Umoja One Kenya Alliance in the next election.
Okay, that's a campaign pitch, Honorable Mbui. But Honorable Koech, so listening to this and of course knowing that yes, it's the final examination before the transition, what must we pay regard to? And even as the candidates write the examinations, what must their parents and the rest of Kenyans think about as you go to the transition?
Thank you very much, Sam. Allow me also, like my colleagues, to wish all the candidates who are doing the exams today the best in the exams, particularly those from my constituency. On the question of how this should be handled, I think my colleagues have sufficiently handled this matter of education. And like I also want to point out, it's important that the process of evaluating students is not only pegged on their final exams. It should be continuous. And I think that is another probably positive aspect that CBC is going to introduce, where we continuously assess students and finally award them. But you make it look like, our life is pegged on the examinations that we do at the end of Form 4. And that is why it brings all the tension and the hype in the country. There's a lot of silence, and all of a sudden, like they were saying, the police carrying examination papers and all this. I don't think all that is necessary, even for a minister to come out and announce that, this is the day that we are doing exams. It just sends unnecessary signals to the students. They should be led to do their thing. And they've worked hard for it, and we are done with that. It should not be so much of what we see going on and hype and all that. So I think going forward, even as we wish them success now, it should be a concern for all of us that how do we then withdraw from the traditional way of preparing students for examination, where people have to find even mechanisms of stealing exams just because they know when you pass in that and Form 4 exams, that almost determines who you become later in life. I've seen students who've passed in Form 4, some getting an A and cannot even go and do the courses they are called for because it becomes extremely competitive to the extent that they have to drop out. I have a case at hand where a student got an A from Kapsabet boys a few years ago. Went to University of Nairobi to do a course in actuarial science. And the boy couldn't get anything. So, in our one-on-one discussion with him, he told me, no, you know what? I have a problem and I cannot pursue what what I've been called for. So anyway, it is important that we prepare students to learn that the process of evaluating of our minds is continuous, and it does not end with Form 4. And even those who fail, there is still a future going forward. So right. I will leave it at that. I'm not an expert in matters of education, but I think my colleagues...
But is the thinking of scrapping CBC still a point of discussion within...
it's a new thing. It's a new thing. There are loopholes. I mean, when people critique CBC, it's just to make it better so that we have a better system than what we've had. We've come out from a system that now everyone realizes that, no, we don't need to evaluate our children during the exams of Standard 8 and Form 4. And now, even when you critique, people don't know what is coming on board. I mean, what are our students doing? And there's a tradition, there's this feeling of comfort that people have been used to this system and now going to a new one brings other challenges. You know, parents, by the way, let me tell you, do not want to be involved in matters, education of their children. People want to leave all this to the teachers and just sit. So when they come with assignments that they are told that you must do this with your parents don't want that. Parents want to have a chill moment in the evening. They want to do their own things. But I think there are other systems like GCE, which involves parents in every step of the child. And I think it is very necessary for every parent to be involved in the growth of their children from primary to when they exit school. So I think CBC has some positive aspects of it, on it, and also negative.
So no position has been taken, because Moses Wetangula is on record saying that once the government of Kenya Kwanza takes over, they will scrap the CBC. Musalia Mudavadi has said as much. So no agreed position yet?
No agreed position. All I'm saying is that we have to critique. There is a problem, and like I've seen Soshan in this show coming out very strongly again. He's an expert in on matters education, and Soshan has said there is a problem with CBC that we must address.
All right.
From training the teachers, even we give out last week. I was in the constituency giving out CDF funds for construction of classrooms. We have a problem with the number of students that we can accommodate in one classroom. CBC did not even project on what will that mean to schools. There is a hurry now to build more classrooms, but are we going to achieve that in the short run?
Can I just say something?
Honorable Rosa, we need to take a short break. There are some challenges that we're facing. But when we come back, we'll also be speaking about, yes, that's the challenge. We'll be speaking about matters politics, especially what transpired over the weekend and how we are with the state of the race after the break.
What did you want to say, Rosa?
I just wanted to say